Hey there, fellow Studio One users. It's Jonesy here from Studio One Expert. Today, I'd like to drop another little quick tip on you guys. And today, we're going to be focusing on using the Arpeggiator and the Repeater. Now, I know that everyone's probably quite familiar with the Arpeggiator. The Repeater, probably not so much. Today, I'd like to do something a little bit different. I've got this track together here, which, when I say track, it's a series of drums. And I just want to make, I just want to add my own flavor to it. These drums you're listening to now are all from the F9 audio pack created by James from a great house production duo called the Freemasons. I highly recommend getting these, the whole pack that he put out. Everything sounds amazing. So I'm cheating a little bit today, so thank you. Big shout out to James. I'm using his stems in this session, and they sound fantastic. Dope. So just say I want to add my own flavor to what's going on here. There's a lot of things I could do. If I want to be a little bit quick about it and probably come up with a few surprises, I would probably more likely turn to the Studio One inbuilt MIDI plugins. So first up, let's have a look at the Arpeggiator. Now, as you know, an Arpeggiator is designed to take a chord that you play on the keyboard and then add a rhythmic interpretation of that with a single note in any sort of ways. You've got the, going from left to right up, from right to left down, up and down, backwards and forwards, all that stuff. That's all very well, but today we're not going to be using it for any kind of so-called keyboard or melodic type stuff. Today is purely based around percussion. Now, the reason I want to do this is because there's a couple of really cool things you can get happening with the Arpeggiator. Firstly, one of my favorite things about it is adjusting how many subdivisions are in the pattern. Now, in dance music, we tend to float around in groups of, 4, 8, 16, 32. And that's great for arrangements. But when you get down to the macro level, I think sometimes it's quite nice to get a little bit kooky with it and have your subdivisions working in groups of 7s and 5s, sort of odd groupings, basically. What this means is that you'll get patterns that are created over a longer period. So rather than something resolving at the end of 4 bars or 8 bars, something in groups of 7 is going to resolve over a lot longer, and it's going to be quite interesting to listen to. I'll just give you an example. So if we had this one in good old-fashioned 8 subdivisions, and I push the key, it's just going to do what it always does. But if I drop it down to 7 16th notes per subdivision, it's going to sound something like this. Now, what that means is when we play it over the 4 on the floor, very straight beat, it's going to have a kind of a slightly unnerving but groovy vibe to it. So if we have a little listen to that. Yeah, I really like that. Now, I wouldn't recommend holding your finger down for the whole track and going, wow, everyone behold my awesome 7 16th note subdivisions. But it is kind of neat for little build-ups to drops. If you just want to create a small little bit of excitement, add a bit of reverb on it, that kind of stuff. Just kind of ear candy. That's kind of the vibe. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to record just a bit of this. Looking basically at every 8 bars. So in this, we're quite lucky with this. It's the way that James and the team at F9 have organized this. They're done as if you're writing a track. So we've got 32 bars pretty much locked in as if it was a real track ready to go. So let me just drop something down here. It's cool. I might hold on to it a bit longer, I'm not sure, but we'll definitely do something here. Cool. So now we've got sort of some basic little hi-hat fills in here that we can use. Where are you guys? We'll just quantize those up quickly. I'm sort of there's a lot of stuff I'm going to be speeding through on this because I'm not going to insult your intelligence, and I'm going to assume that you guys have a pretty good understanding of most of the basic stuff. If you don't, by all means, drop me a note in the comments. But let's just keep it moving. So another great feature about the Arpeggiator is we've got the velocity up and down here, and we've got the gate length. Now the gate length, if you don't know, is sort of basically how long it's going to hold the note for. So if we shorten these up, I mean, we can do it in two places. We've got like an individual gate length here, but then we've got a global gate over this side, which it's not moving them, but you'll be able to hear it when I play it. So you'll hear it's making the hi-hat very short and very long. I quite like the short, actually. And another thing we've got here is the swing, which is kind of cool. So obviously this is very straight. And if you put it up to about 50%, you're going to end up with a pretty sort of groovy swing on that. So let's see how that sounded. Cool. I think we'll move that before by 17. Cool. Okay, I'm going to focus on this bit here as our main kind of pattern that we're using. Now, one of the awesome features about Studio One that I love is the ability to take like a single. Notice how this is just a single note. It's not. It's playing lots of notes, but it's just a single note. And that's great when you're writing, but when you want to say move it around or move that pattern to other instruments, it's kind of cool if you can separate all those little notes onto one MIDI file. So the way to do this is you right-click on the MIDI segment there, and you go down to instrument parts, and you'll notice down here you've got render instrument parts. I personally would highly recommend setting up a key command so that you can go to this whenever you want, because I tend to forget that it's there and I get pretty frustrated. Recently I've just added this to my iPad shortcut, so I actually have that sitting in front of me now. That's why it's not showing a key command there, but by all means create a key command. It's very, very useful. So we click on that, and what it's going to do is it's going to create the pattern. So now we have the actual pattern, we've got the actual gate lengths of the notes, we've got the velocity of the notes, which is very important down the bottom there. Another thing you can do if you wanted to go crazy is actually use that as your template for your groove. So let's just say you love that so much, you can just chuck that in there. Boom, you've just created a quantized groove template for it. There's a video out there by one of our guys, I can't remember who did it, might have been Marcus, but investigate creating your own groove template there, because trust me, you come up with some good things with this. It's another great feature of Studio One. One thing I would like to sort of casually send out there to the PreSonus crew, I would really love to see a MIDI drag function directly from the plugin. I love that it does such a great job with the render to MIDI parts there, but it is a bit annoying having to dig down into a submenu. So just my 10 cents worth. Anyway, moving on. Now we've got this as our little fill. We can basically put it anywhere, which is kind of cool, and chop it up a little bit. I'm going to get rid of that end. Put them over here. And I think what I'm going to do is put a little bit of reverb on those. Let's just go to Val room. Q. Yeah, cool. I think we'll just leave it at that. Okay, now that's the Arpeggiator for doing little fills using percussion, in that case like a hi-hat fill. Now let's have a look at presence. Presence, I actually am a big fan of. I'm a drummer, been a drummer for years, but this gives me a lot of really cool ideas for short drum fills. Now, the way I explained earlier that this differentiates from the arpeggiator is you push a key once, and then it plays a sequence of notes after it. It's not on a loop type function. It really is you push one key and then it repeats in a particular style afterwards. For example, let's see what I've got here. Okay, and we're back. Sorry, I just had a bit of trouble finding the right kit, but I seem to have something now. So let me just run over sort of what we're looking at here with the repeater, because I get a funny feeling there's a lot of people out there that probably have seen it in their MIDI effects folder and maybe never opened it up. It has similar features to the arpeggiator in the sense we've got our velocities here, and we have our gate here for the note. But what it's got that I really dig is it's got this transpose feature here. Now, if you're using a drum kit or a set of percussion that's laid out across a keyboard, what this means is it's going to play multiple instruments. So if I go, there's just one instrument in there. If I click this up, see if I can find some more. Yeah, so there we've got a little timbale happening in there. Get rid of something's going on with that guy. That's actually pretty cool. Maybe a bit quieter. Something weird going on with this guy. Cool. So we've just basically created our potential drum fill, which if we listen to it in the track, cool. Maybe we'll try something. Now, this has a similar thing to the ARP as well with the steps, so we can actually, it'll play for 11 subdivisions there. We'll bring down a 6. Maybe get rid of this, see what happens with this guy. That's cool. Yeah, it's good. Cool, so straight away, not going to set the world on fire with this fill, but what we've got is here is a bit of a spontaneous moment we can add into the track. So let's just drop that in. Do it over here as well. Cool. So we'll just go in, quantize those guys. And once again, like we did earlier, we can go to our instrument parts and we can render instrument tracks. And this will give us all the MIDI files. Now what we can do from there is obviously we can experiment with other drum sounds there. If we go and click on that, oh, nothing's in there. Okay. So, say I don't really like that snare there, we can just... That's a better snare. Cool. Turn the velocity up a bit. Cool. That's what's so good about this kind of stuff, is all the little surprises that you can kind of find. So we'll actually make this guy go there, and we'll duplicate them across. So now we have our little hi-hat fill with a nice reverb on it. And then we have this guy. Oh, where's the guy gone with the good timbale? Oh, I seem to have lost the timbale guy. Let's just find him. That's him. Let's get rid of these guys. Cool. maybe even put a bit of reverb on him. He's already got a bit of room reverb, so I think we might just wind it up a bit. Let's see what it sounds like. Probably a bit much. Take him down a little bit. Yeah, I like the way the reverb's hanging on that timbale type snare. Cool. So then we have two sort of creative percussive uses for the repeater and the arpeggiator. I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope you get to use these quite a bit. I mean, they're really fast, and also I would recommend, if you're nearly at the end of a project and you just need really fast ear candy that is exciting and something that, you know, is new to your ears as well, I'd highly recommend using these. Great, guys. Thanks very much for that. All the best. And as usual, if there's any questions, please feel free to contact me in the comments, and we'll be seeing you next time. All the best.